Okay, real talk. You've definitely said this before, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Or maybe, I function fine on 5 hours. Cool story. Your brain disagrees with you, and it's been quietly keeping receipts. Here's the thing nobody tells you about sleep. It's not your body shutting off, it's your body going into overdrive. While you're lying there drooling on your pillow, completely unaware, there's a full night shift happening inside you. And if you keep cutting that shift short, things start to break. Let's get into why. So, first, let's talk about what's actually happening while you sleep, because it's way weirder than resting. Every night, your brain cycles through different stages, and one of the most important ones is deep sleep. This is when your brain basically hits the wash cycle. There's a fluid system in your brain called the glymphatic system, and it's most active while you're asleep. Its whole job is flushing out waste that builds up in your brain during the day. One of the things it clears out is a protein called beta amyloid. Sound familiar? It should. That's the same protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. Skip enough deep sleep over the years, and you're letting that junk pile up night after night instead of getting hosed out. So when people say sleep is when your brain cleans itself, that's not a metaphor. It's almost literal. Now let's talk about the other stage you've definitely heard of REM sleep. This is when most of your dreaming happens, and it's also when your brain does something wild. It goes through your memories from the day and decides what's worth keeping. Researchers call this memory consolidation. Basically, your brain is sorting through everything you experienced, filing the important stuff into long term storage, and trashing the rest. Ever notice how you can cram for a test all night, barely sleep, and then blank out during the exam? That's not bad luck. That's your brain never getting the chance to actually save what you studied. Here's where it gets personal, though. Sleep isn't just a brain thing, it's running your entire body. Let's start with your immune system. While you sleep, your body produces and releases proteins called cytokines. Some of these are critical for fighting off infections and inflammation. Cut your sleep short, and your body produces fewer of them. That's part of why you're way more likely to catch a cold when you've been running on empty for a week. Researchers have actually tested this directly. People who slept less than 6 hours were significantly more likely to catch a virus they were deliberately exposed to, compared to people sleeping 7 or more hours. Same exposure, same virus, completely different outcome. And the only difference was sleep. Then there's your hormones, and this is the part that explains a lot of late night fridge raids. Sleep regulates two key hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin tells your brain you're hungry. Leptin tells your brain you're full. When you're sleep deprived, ghrelin goes up and leptin goes down. So your body is simultaneously screaming, "I'm starving," while turning off the signal that tells you to stop eating. That's why after a rough night of sleep, you don't crave a salad. You crave pizza, chips, anything loaded with sugar and fat. It's not weak willpower. It's your hormones actively working against you, and it doesn't stop there. Growth hormone, the stuff responsible for repairing muscle and tissue, is released mostly during deep sleep. Athletes who cut sleep short don't just feel tired. They recover slower, get injured more often, and see smaller gains from the exact same training. Your body builds itself back up at night. If you skip that window, you're working out and then sabotaging the recovery. Now, here's a stat that should scare you a little. Your cardiovascular system takes a hit too. People who consistently sleep less than 6 hours a night have a meaningfully higher risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke. While you sleep, your blood pressure naturally dips. It's called nocturnal dipping, and it gives your heart a break from working overtime all day. Cut sleep short, and that dip doesn't happen properly. Your heart just keeps grinding night after night with no rest stop. So why 8 hours specifically? Why not 6? Why not 5 if you feel fine on it? Here's the uncomfortable part. Most people who say they feel fine on 5 or 6 hours of sleep are wrong. Researchers have studied this by tracking people's actual cognitive performance after restricting their sleep for 2 weeks straight. The people sleeping 6 hours a night performed just as badly on reaction time and memory tests as people who'd been awake for 24 hours straight. But here's the twist. They didn't feel that impaired. Their subjective sense of tiredness leveled off even while their actual performance kept getting worse. Basically, you adapt to feeling tired. You don't adapt to the damage. That's the trap. Chronic sleep deprivation doesn't feel like an emergency, so it never triggers the alarm bells it should. You just slowly get worse at thinking, worse at regulating emotions, worse at fighting off illness, worse at recovering, and it feels normal because it happens gradually. 8 hours isn't an arbitrary number some wellness influencer made up. It's roughly the point where most adults complete enough full sleep cycles, deep sleep, REM sleep, and everything in between to actually do all this maintenance work properly. Cut it down, and you're not just losing time. You're skipping steps in a process your body needs to finish. So next time you're tempted to stay up just one more hour scrolling, remember what's actually on the line. It's not just feeling groggy tomorrow, it's your memory, your immune system, your heart, your hormones, and yes, even how hungry you're going to be at 11 p.m. tomorrow night. Your body isn't being dramatic when it asks for 8 hours, it's just trying to finish its job. But here's something most people never think about. Sleep didn't show up randomly. It's not some modern invention or a nice to have your body picked up along the way. Every animal that has a brain sleeps in some form. Dolphins do it with half their brain at a time so they don't drown. Birds do it mid-flight in tiny bursts. Even fruit flies sleep, and if you deprive them of it, they start dying off faster, just like mammals do. When something is that universal across millions of years of evolution, despite being incredibly dangerous, you're unconscious, defenseless, blind to predators. That's not nature being careless. That's nature saying the benefit is worth the risk. So what would happen if you actually tried to skip it completely? Not just cut a few hours, but go without sleep entirely? There's a well-documented case of a radio DJ named Peter Tripp back in the 1950s who stayed awake for 201 hours straight as a publicity stunt. That's a little over 8 days. The first day or two, he was just tired and irritable. By day 3, he started having hallucinations, seeing spiders crawling on his shoes that weren't there. By the end, he couldn't tell what was real anymore. He was paranoid, disoriented, and his personality genuinely seemed to shift. It took him weeks to fully recover mentally afterward, and some researchers who studied him questioned whether he ever fully bounced back to who he was before. Then there's an even more extreme case, a rare genetic condition called fatal familial insomnia. People with this condition gradually lose the ability to sleep at all, and it is exactly as terrifying as it sounds. Within months, they spiral through worsening insomnia, hallucinations, rapid weight loss, and dementia-like symptoms, and it is, true to its name, fatal. It's an extremely rare disease, but it's one of the clearest proofs we have that sleep isn't optional. So now you know the reason why your body needs 8 hours of sleep.